Hello, I'm Charlotte Francis from Sage VIP. I'm a quality controller. I will be doing the presentation for the update to release 4.3b. This presentation in particular is about our pay scales module. It's had quite a facelift, and it's not a module you need to pay for, but you do need to be licensed for the pay scale module. I'm going to be taking you through the screen prompts. First of all, just to show you how the pay scale module works, and then the particular changes that we have made in this update. So if we can just look, your pay scales are found on two menu options. Under the payroll, you find your pay scales here, as well as under the personnel module menu, we have pay scales menu options here. Now the link scales and scale codes have always been there. First of all, it will warn you to make a backup just for safety purposes. You would set up your pay scale codes on the screen, defining it with a report and a screen description. Then you have your scale values, which reflects the minimum and maximum annual salaries for this position. The market values reflects the minimum to maximum values for the position in the market. So annual salary A reflects the lowest annual salary entry level, and V reflects the highest annual salary entry level for the employee occupying this position. Up until now, if these values were amended, the changes were not carried through to the employee increase screens. It is the code and notch that the employee is linked to. Now on the employee increase screen, you can either access that screen from the employee's payslip or otherwise from your link pay scales. You will see that the pay scale and current notch is reflected to the right of the screen. So one would access the pay scale codes, select the pay scale to which the employee is meant to be linked, and you will select the notch, in this case D, to which this employee must be linked. And there you can see it reflected on the increase screen. The global pay scale feature, which we have included for release 4.3b, makes this seamless. What we are going to do, we're going to actually globally increase or decrease the pay scale codes, and then automatically update the increase screens of all the employees that are linked to that specific pay scale. So let's look how that works. From our main menu, we will be going to our pay scales menu, pay scale global increase. There is a please note message for you. Please take a backup before you continue. All the changes will be applied in the current processing period, and any employees terminated in the current period or on leave or early pay will not be updated. I'm going to take you through to the options on the screen. You can either apply an increase and hopefully never a decrease to your pay scales. It can be applied per notch or per market value via a percentage or a fixed amount. You would enter the percentage or fixed amounts in this entry field and then select the pay scale that needs to be amended. So let's select our manager pay scale and continue at this point. You will be asked to confirm your selections, because this is now going to be applied to pay scales that affect employee salaries. So it's important that you have this information correct. If we continue here, we get a message that tells us that our annual salary notches have been changed, and we can now update it by recalculating the value so that all the increase screens are amended to the new pay scale values. If you were to say no at this point, you will need to go and apply pay scales at a later stage to update the employee increase screen. We are going to say yes at this point so that the action can take place. You will get a successful message on your screen. Also, just a reminder that if you're doing increases, you need to change the bonus provision amounts. I'm going to take us back, once the recalculation is complete, to the employee screen that we were on just now. I'm going to go via the payslip to the INC, the increase screen. That's just another way in which you can get to the employee's increase screen. You will see that the annual salary has been increased because of the pay scale changes that were made. Another way in which pay scales can be amended is directly on the pay scale code. So let's look how that works. If we go to our pay scales menu, you would pick up your pay scale link code. I would go to my manager code, for example, and I could make an amendment to my annual salary. It will be carried through all the way to the last notch. And when I close this screen, I now get that new message that asks whether I'd like to make this change to all the employee increase screens that are linked to this pay scale. Again, if I say no, I will need to apply pay scales at a later stage. If I say yes, all the employees that are linked to this pay scale are immediately amended. Again, the reminder that you should amend your bonus provision amounts after doing an increase, and the recalculation takes place. Another new feature for pay scales is the copy of pay scale codes from one company to another. On the menu option, let's go via the personnel module this time. Pay scales, copy pay scales. You are not able to proceed with the copy pay scales option unless you have made a backup. It is possible to make a backup from the screen, and then you would tick, have you made a backup option, and it will open up the selections on the screen. You would need to select the from company. We're currently in company 129. I'm not asked a password in this instance. If I were to select any of the other companies, it would have requested a password. Only one company can be selected, obviously. I would then select the pay scale code, which I want copied, and then I will choose my target company. Now, your target company, I'm going to select a company 990, also requires a password. At this point, if the system picks up that the user does not have access to pay scale definitions, the password will not be accepted at this level, even if it is correct. So they won't be able to proceed past this point. More than one company can be selected as a target company, and at this point, you can continue. The selected pay scales has been copied message is reflected, and the process has been completed. Please take note that the pay scales at this point have been copied to your target companies, but they are not applied to the employee increase screens. So it's going to be necessary to do and apply pay scales in your target companies. Okay, the feature I've been speaking a lot about that we're going to look at now is the apply pay scales. If you've applied, made changes to any of the pay scales, either directly on the pay scale code or globally, or you've copied pay scales across to another company, and you want to get these changes onto the employee increase screen, you can now go to the apply pay scale codes option. It's also on your pay scales menu. Again, the same warning message that you should take a backup. It's applied in the current pay period, and employees terminated in the current period on leave pay or early pay will not be updated. On the screen, you select the pay scale code that you want to administer to the employee increase screens, and you press continue, and the confirmation message will be displayed. Remember, this affects employee salary, so make sure you've made the correct selection. If we proceed there, it tells us that we are successful, and again the reminder to do your bonus provision. The last two features for pay scale codes that we're going to look at are import features. Also on your pay scale menu, the last two at the bottom here, import pay scale links. This will actually import the links of the pay scales to the employee increase screen. The name of the import file is plinks.csv. Please go to the guidelines screen. It will tell you exactly how to create the file, what the import process is, what the screen messages will be, and what the error messages will be. When you run the import procedure, the changes will immediately affect the employee increase screen. The last import option there is your import pay scale codes. Now this is helpful when unions change the annual salary notches. This is an effortless way of getting these changes into your system. You would again please need to consult the guidelines document to see exactly how the file needs to be compiled, what the error messages are, what the screen messages are. When this import has been completed, please take note that the increase screen is not updated in this instance, and you would need to do the apply pay scale codes procedure. That brings us to the end of our information concerning the pay scales module. If you have any questions, please consult our release notes on your company selection screen, and enjoy your new pay scale module.